In the early 1990s, before the sold-out arenas, before the screaming fans, before the platinum records, 5 teenage boys walked into a small office in Orlando, Florida. They didn't know it yet, but this meeting would change their lives forever. Waiting for them was a man named Lou Pearlman. Lou was big physically and personality-wise. He spoke loudly, confidently, and he dressed like money and talked like success. He told them he was a businessman, an aviation expert, and a music visionary. Most importantly, he told them he could make them stars. For young boys chasing a dream, that was all they needed to hear. Lou Pearlman had a vision. He believed America needed a new vocal group, something polished, clean, and perfectly engineered for fame, inspired by new kids on the block. He began assembling his own boy band. That band would become its Backstreet Boys. From the beginning, Lou positioned himself as more than a manager. He paid for vocal training, dance rehearsals, housing, and food. He took them in to the boys. Lou wasn't just a boss. He felt like a father figure, and fathers you trust. The early days were hard. Long rehearsals, tiny venues, and little money. But Lou kept telling them, be patient. This takes time. Then, something happened. The Backstreet Boys exploded. Not in America at first, but overseas, Europe loved them. Their songs climbed the charts. Crowds grew bigger. Their name started spreading. By the mid-1990s, the Backstreet Boys were unstoppable. They crossed back into the U.S. as global stars. Suddenly, everything changed. Their faces were on magazines. Their music was everywhere. MTV, radio, and billboards. They toured nonstop, and they sold millions of albums. By the late 1990s, the Backstreet Boys were one of the biggest pop groups in the world. From the outside, they had everything, but behind closed doors, something didn't add up. Despite sold-out tours, despite record-breaking sales, the boys were barely getting paid. Some were receiving checks so small, they thought there must be a mistake. They asked questions. Lou had answers. He said there were expenses, debts, and production costs. This is normal, he told them. This is how the industry works. And they believed him. Because why wouldn't they? Lou was the man who built their dream. But as the years passed, the questions grew louder. The Backstreet Boys weren't rookies anymore, but were global icons. When they finally saw the numbers, the truth hit them like a punch. After years of nonstop, Warcock member had earned around $300,000. Total. That was it. For one of the best-selling boy bands in history, something was very wrong. Quietly, the band hired lawyers, and when those lawyers began digging, they uncovered a nightmare. Lou Pearlman hadn't just mismanaged their money. He had designed a system to steal it. A system so clean, so calculated, and it hid in plain sight. Here's how it worked. Lou created 2 companies. One was a record label. The other was a management company. Both were owned by Lou Pearlman. On paper, the Backstreet Boys weren't partners, they were employees. And Lou, he was legally listed as the 6th member of the group. That meant he earned a cut meant for the band. Every paycheck flowed through him, and every dollar passed his hands, and Lou got paid twice while the boys traveled city to city. Lou Pearlman lived in luxury mansions, private planes, and expensive cars. The man who told them to be patient was spending their money. The deeper investigators look at, the darker it became. Fake accounting, hidden debts, and numbers that didn't make sense. This wasn't business but was theft. In 1998, the Backstreet Boys confronted Lou Pearlman and they sued him. When the lawsuit opened his financial records, everything collapsed back because the scam didn't stop with them. As the truth spread, other artists began speaking up. N-Sync, another massive boy band with same contracts and same lies. Aaron Carter, a child star controlled. Exploited and left financially broken. O-Town, one by one. The pattern became clear. Lou Pearlman didn't manage artists bet fed on them. But even that wasn't the full story. Behind the music industry, fraud was something much bigger. Something criminal. Lou Pearlman had been running a massive Ponzi scheme. He promised investors huge returns. Used fake documents and forged financial statements. New money paid old investors, and it was a perfect illusion. Over time, he stole more than $300 million. The empire was fake. The success was borrowed, and the collapse was inevitable. In 2006, Lou Pearlman went on the run, but he couldn't hide forever. He was captured, arrested, and charged with multiple counts of fraud. In 2008, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. No stage lights, no applause. Just silence. Lou Pearlman died in prison in 2016. Alone, the man who created pop legends sent it as a cautionary tale. The Backstreet Boys survived. They rebuilt, reclaimed their name, and they reclaimed their future, but the years they lost, the trust that was broken, and the money that vanished never came back. This wasn't just a story about music. It was a story about power, about manipulation, about what happens when dreams are placed in the wrong hands. Because sometimes, the person who opens the door to your future is the same one stealing from you in the dark. And by the time you realize it, the music has already stopped.